Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports. As you see, the breaking news below, Dillian Whyte signs contract to confirm Tyson Fury fight. So the fight is on. Thank goodness for that. But before I talk about boxing, just for 1 minute, I want to say a little prayer or say a prayer for the people of Ukraine. As we hear news coming out of the media from around the world that Russia has given orders to invade Ukraine. Obviously, I'm not on the ground, so I can't confirm what is going on, but my prayers are for the people in Ukraine, their families. Obviously, there are Ukrainian families that are Ukrainians who are attached to this channel. Obviously, my prayers are with them and their family, and of course, people, just generally people in Ukraine. So a prayer goes out to them before this show commences. So just a moment of silence for them in prayer. Okay, let's get on with the show. So it has been confirmed. Dillian Whyte versus Tyson Fury is on. Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness we don't have to deal with any belts being vacated, Joshua sidestepping Usyk and fighting Whyte, Whyte being thrown into some other position to fight somewhere else. I'm glad that the biggest fight in British boxing, currently in heavyweight boxing, outside of Fury and Joshua, is Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury. It's interesting, the last time two Brits fought for a world title was actually for the WBC title. And that time was, I remember watching it, LENNOX Lewis against Frank Bruno. I remember watching it as a young boy. I'm a big fan of LENNOX Lewis. And, Bruno, didn't like LENNOX because LENNOX called him an Uncle Tom. That was real. It was an ugly fight. And Frank was very much underestimated for the fight. And he almost caused the upset. He was outboxing LENNOX using the jab. And Frank backed LENNOX up to the ropes, dropped his hands, and LENNOX threw that big left hook, and the rest is history. But what a fight it was in Cardiff. And yeah, we've got another big fight in April now for the WBC title again. But this time the man defending the WBC title is Tyson Fury. Now, I know a lot of people say, if boxing fans are a peculiar set of people, they're like, Dillian ain't signed a contract. Right. Now, Dillian signed a contract, but he's a bum. I don't quite understand boxing fans. And those sort of boxing fans, they're not in boxing fans, they are boxing fanatics. They don't really care about the sport. They flip-flop and change the goalposts anytime. Well, if you beat this guy, damn now you got to beat that guy. And if you don't beat that guy, you got to beat this guy. They never really give anybody credit, and everybody's a bum and everybody's useless. And, so, now we have a good fight coming up here. And it's interesting because everyone knocked Deontay Wilder. He was a basketballer. He was a bum. He had chicken legs. He was a windmiller. This guy dropped Tyson Fury 4 times in 3 fights. It wasn't, it was never the second fight was a bit of a breeze, but the third fight and the first fight was no breeze. And in the third fight, Fury was down twice, and he was badly hurt. So let's not fool ourselves here about thinking Tyson Fury is invincible. What the interesting thing about there's 2 major interesting points about this fight. Well, 3 interesting points about this fight for me. Point number 1 is, how much has Tyson Fury got left? Those fights against Deontay Wilder would surely have been damaging, not just for Deontay Wilder, but for Tyson Fury as well. How much damage was done in those 3 fights with Deontay Wilder? These these sort of fights are what they call career ending because they are taxing. They take so much out of you. How much is taken out of Tyson Fury? That's the question number one. How much has Tyson Fury been softened up, for now Dillian Whyte to fight him? Next question to ask is, I think, looking at Dillian Whyte, he is a whole different, what they call it, his different proposition to Deontay Wilder. First of all, he's not going to be taught how to throw body shots. He's the body snatcher by nature. He knows how to throw body shots. He knows how to roll and get inside. He knows how to do those things. The next thing is, if Harold the Shadow Knight is still in his corner, how key will Harold the Shadow Knight be? Obviously, Harold the Shadow Knight trained Lennox Lewis, assistant coach to Lennox Lewis. So he understands heavyweight boxing. He's got some knowledge there. So he's going into that fight, Dillian Whyte, with some real heavyweight experience going in there. So Harold the Shadow Knight will not fall for the stunts and the tricks that maybe an inept or an inexperienced team in Deontay Wilder's camp would have fallen for. So these are things that I think will be key going into the fight with Tyson Fury. So those are things I'm going to be looking at. Obviously, Dillian Whyte's weight, how heavy will he come in for the fight? What is his strategy going to be? Is he going to be looking to get past the jab and bull on the inside? And of course, Tyson Fury's style has changed. For Deontay Wilder, there's less of his hands behind the back on all that sort of herky-jerky stuff. You've heard it from Stacey McKinley. You heard it from James Ali Bashir. Two experienced, world-class, elite heavyweight trainers. They've told us, Bashir with over 50 years experience in heavyweight boxing, Stacey McKinley, former trainer of Mike Tyson, 35 years of boxing, 35 years of world champions, 35 world champions, may I say, in heavyweight boxing. So, when we talk about fighters and trainers, we're talking with the very best and seeking their experience there. How does that, is Tyson Fury going to go back to the sort of style he used when he fought against Vladimir Klitschko? Is he going to stand and hold his feet? And if he stands and hold his feet, does it give Dillian Whyte more opportunity to throw that left hook? Because obviously the left hook is Dillian Whyte's best punch. Now Tyson Fury is not going to be punching up or punching at a target. He's now going to be punching down. So from 6'7", he's now punching to 6'4". Punches that Tyson will have to watch out for: the left hook around the corner, right hand over the top, and the body shots. If you look at the first fight with Deontay Wilder, the body shots were rounds 8 and 9. Set up the knockdown in round 10, I believe, where Deontay Wilder was going to the body. Dillian Whyte's a better body puncher. He's a lot more streetwise than Deontay Wilder. Won't get caught up in all the. He will be a lot more switched on. Very experienced fighter now. He's been through the tough fights. So he's an experienced campaigner. He's physically strong. So, he's not going to get pushed over. So he's got physical strength that will bode him well in this fight. Will this fight end up like how Danny Williams fought Vitaly Klitschko? If you look at that fight, that's the kind of fight that I'm kind of looking sort of like lines. Tyson is tall and upright and uses the jab very well, and he's got a nice right hand on him now. So will, Dillian Whyte fall into that mold of Danny Williams, big, strong, brave, but ultimately not good enough at the highest level? Will it be one of those situations? Or will it be a situation where, those tough fights that Tyson Fury has had have caught up with Fury just enough for Dillian to close that gap and land the punches necessary to become world heavyweight champion? It's a fascinating time of boxing. I'm really looking forward to the fight. And yes, there are some questions. And Michael Thomas starts by saying, Eddie Hearn not happy Dillian Whyte signed, but sell Dillian Whyte downriver. Lennox Lewis versus Frank Bruno was a good fight. Indeed, Michael, it was definitely a big fight, a good fight. And what happens to Tyson Fury boxing license in the UK? Where his fight in Wembley. Well, that's the thing. That'll be interesting. Fury has not fought in the UK since what was there? I think since the Pianetta fight. The Pianetta fight, but the last time that Fury fought, and even then, I think people were walking out the arena when he fought Pianetta. So it's interesting. They staged a fight in the UK. The whole thing of his license and UCAD and all that stuff. How's all that going to get resolved? So it'll be very interesting. But obviously, they're sure that the fight is going to happen on April, I think 23rd or 24th. So we'll see. The press conference will be interesting, whether Dillian Whyte does a whole load of talking or not. If Dillian Whyte is to talk, it'll be interesting to see what he mentions in the build-up. Particularly, I'm interested to hear what Whyte talks about with regards to the negotiations. And you know, Dillian Whyte, he will speak his truth. He'll say what he's got to say about Tyson Fury. Don't you worry about that. He will do. As long as he's legally not bound not to talk, and I'm sure he'll say many things about Tyson Fury. I think it's going to be an entertaining press conference, as long as Dillian Whyte cooperates with the promotion. And what I mean by that is that he makes this as entertaining as possible. You know, he could always turn to press conference and say nothing. And it's not the fight that we expect, but I hope he does turn up and say things. So, and make it exciting. The fight's been signed, the contract's been signed. Obviously, if you sign a contract, you are obligated to do certain things in that contract. So I guess one of those things is to turn up to press conferences and promote the fight. So look forward to hearing from Dillian Whyte and hearing what he's got to say and how his mindset is going into the fight. One good thing about this fight for Dillian Whyte, he's had some time to rest, recuperate, and his body to heal. So he had back-to-back pay-per-view fights and tough fights. I didn't think they were doing him any favors, but the rest would have healed him up nicely. So I hope to see I hope he's sharp enough as well for this fight, you know. Right. So that's it for me. As always, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Congratulations. So the Can Man has signed the contract, and here anyone can get it, including Tyson Fury, and now that's confirmed. Thanks for watching.